The most treasured thing I have about my garden is a garden journal. I created it under Google Docs. That journal has become a living document. It's 11 years old. There's about 70 pages in it now. I can scroll through and I can see what worked, what didn't work. I make notes to myself, things I want to try, or seed companies that I liked, that I had success with their seeds. Well, I want to share all of that with you, how to create your own garden journal under Google Docs. So let's head on inside and jump on that computer, and I'll take you through step by step, even if you have very, very little skills on any kind of Word documents.
All I have needs, I have not provided.
Okay, so I am on my home screen when I open up my browser. So I've opened up my browser screen, and you've got to get to Google however way you get there. So I have it right here. And you see these dots, these 9 dots up here in the corner? You're going to click that, go over here to Google Drive, and open that. So now I'm in my own personal Google Docs. So I'm going to go over here to New, and I want Google Docs, blank document. So you've got to bring your cursor down until that's highlighted, and then hit the little arrow button, come over to blank document, and that's going to open up a new window. So I've opened up a blank document here, but I've also, on my computer here, I've opened up my own personal garden journal. And I know some of you are going to ask if you can see it. Well, if you want to see it, please do a vote in the comments and vote yes. I need to hear from enough of you to go ahead and do that. It will be a join, and you will need to join for, I'm thinking, $5. And after you download my garden journal, then you can not continue your join because it's a monthly thing. So $5 and you can have the journal. Now it will take you to a document that you can then download onto your own device. So if you want that, please vote yes. If there's anything else you want me to include, like maybe a monthly join up, or just give me some suggestions. I'm open to suggestions, and I would love to create a community here where we're sharing what we know and what we've learned. So if you'd like to start being a part of this community at $5 a month, put your vote in the comments below. All right, back to our document. We are in a blank document here, and I'm going to start out with calling it what it is. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to increase the font. I'm going to bold it. Let me go up 2 more. And then I'm going to come over here. So see where it says align? See my cursor here and now the arrow? I'm going to go to center. The next thing I do, let's get it off of center again, back down to no bold, and I like 12 font. It's up to you what level, how much you do here. The next thing that I put on here is compiled to, and right now the date is 12/27/2025. And that way, when I open up my garden journal, I know how current my notes are. I'm forgetful. Remember, I'm old, and I forget when's the last time that I updated my journal. So the next thing I'm going to do is make notes. This is where I have an alert. Let's say order seeds by January 1. And that way, if I know it, when I open up my journal and I know I haven't done that, I know I better get on to it, because it's really important to have those seeds ordered by January 1. So this can include any notes that you have for yourself. For me, I'm going to read this to you. Try planting the special mustard as a cover crop over the winter. Or for bunching onion info, go to this section of my journal. And note to self for spring 2026, this is some seeds I want to try. And then I'll come back in here and I'm going to highlight this, and then I'm going to come up here to where it says highlight color, and I like green. And that way, as soon as I open up my garden journal, I know to read those notes that I think are really, really important to myself, and to do those as soon as possible. Now I've got to take the highlight color back to none. And then I have notes here on which seed companies to avoid. And I can't share that with you, but I would love to share with you the seed companies that I do love. Now I'm going to put the address up on the screen, but I'm also going to put it in the show notes, and I'll try to remember to put them in the comments section where I pin my comment first, and that way you'll have a link to my favorite seed companies. First is Baker Seeds. The reason I like them is because they don't charge shipping, and they have an incredible variety. Now I am going to be coming back into another video with you and explain how to shop for your seeds. I like Baker Creek because they have a very good explanation of where that seed comes from, as well as you can read comments. And I rely on both of that information for if I want to try something new. So Baker Creek is first, and the second is a tie between two, Johnny Seeds and Southern Exposure. They give you a good amount of seeds for the price you pay, but they do charge, and perhaps they will waive the shipping charge if you order a certain dollar amount. But Baker Seeds, you can order any amount, and they give you a good amount in the envelope. Now, sometimes the reason why I don't like a seed company is you'll pay $4 or $5 and you open up the packet and there's a dozen seeds, and you're like, that's just not right. And they charge you shipping, which you know what, you can put them in an envelope and send it for the cost of a stamp if you've only ordered 2 or 3 types of seeds. So anyway, that's my own personal beef. The next thing I'm going to put here is garden. Whoops, I'm in the wrong place here. And I don't want the highlight here. Garden remedies. This is my own things that I've come up with from my own research. You may want to put in here fertilizers and what kind of fertilizer you want to use. If you've done sent off a soil test and they've given you recommendations, that's where you would put this information. And you may say, according to soil sample, I need these elements. Now, if you send off a soil sample, they're going to tell you what you can do to correct any deficiencies or pH balance. So that's where you would put this information. That way, as soon as you open your garden journal, these things are really important and you shouldn't have to dig for them. You shouldn't have to scroll around. Now, where did I put that? No, it's right here, ready for you to put that information in. So I have root knot nematode information. I have information for aphids and powdery mildew. And then I went on to talk about let me see, I'm going to scroll this down just a little bit so I can share this with you. All right, here is my seed list for 2014. So my journal is 11 years old. And if you look up here, see where I've got this little arrow going? Mine's 70 pages long of 12 font. So it's a wealth of information. It becomes a living document for you. And it's really important. You can go back and read what worked years ago and the things that you've learned. So my seed list for 2014, I have that written down here. I've got the Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. So let's go back here and we're going to put in seed list for 2016. 2026. And I may, as I go through the catalogs or online, I'm going to start making a list. And you want to compare it to the seeds that you may already have in your supply. After the seed list, then, and you know what? It's a good idea to go ahead and make that in bold. As you're scrolling through, it just makes it easier to see something that you've bolded. Or is that a word? Bolded? Well, it is now. All right. The next thing that I do is put in general notes for entire garden. All right, so let's just pretend that I put in a seed list here. Now I'm going to bold this. Every time you have a new topic, you want to bold it. And then remember to unbold it. And this is where I'll put in something like this. And I can share with you my screen right here under my personal garden notes, just so you can see how I've started entering all of my notes. So spring of 2017, I purchased all my seeds through Southern Exposure, except for Blue Lake Bush and golden zucchini. And then I talk about what I did to prepare my garden that year. I double dug the whole garden, and it took me a total of 32 hours of hand shoveling, plus the time it took to get the horse dirt, which I don't use anymore. But in 2017, that was one of the last years that I was able to use it before glyphosate entered into the scene. If you don't know about glyphosate, you need to look it up. It'll ruin your garden. It goes through the horse and right into the manure and into your garden, and it'll ruin your garden for a couple of years, or at least everywhere where you put it. Okay, I'm going to scroll down and share with you just this much of my garden journal to kind of help you want to know more. May of 2017, the yellow squash, green zucchini, and cucumbers had lots of male flowers and little, if any, female. So as I go through the season, I need to remind myself of these, because I don't know about you, but I like to make the same mistakes over and over and over again until I finally just want to give up. So if you keep track of what worked and what didn't work, it will help you to stop doing the things that aren't working and to know the things that did work. And that's the whole purpose of this journal. So I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to say, it's not quite January yet, but I'm going to put January 2026 here. Again, I'm going to highlight it or put it in bold and then stop the bold here and come back in. I'm trying to make my garden smaller. These are the things I'm doing. Okay. I don't know yet. I have to go out and assess my garden, and I may make a video about that, what I'm doing to make my garden more manageable this year. It's become to the point where it's overwhelming, and I find myself not wanting to go back out into the garden when I used to enjoy going out there. And it's just been more of a chore than a pleasure lately. So this is at the very forefront of my garden journal now. And you know what? I'm going to highlight that with a yellow so that I can remind myself, you know what? Stop making that garden so big. You don't need it. And, you know, little notes like that that you need to make to yourself just to remind yourself some convictions or decisions that you've made. So I'm going to take that highlight back off to none. And let's just say I've now entered notes for January. I'm going to scroll down here. I've got them all the way down here. I'll read you the last. I'll read you what I did in 2025. All right, so the last note, I will share this with you on my screen. I've scrolled down to page 12. So that I've got 12 pages of general notes. And I highlighted here so that when I'm scrolling down, I am telling myself about my experience with yucca, cassava. Some of you may know it as cassava. I wasn't real pleased with it. Made beautiful bushes, trees, whatever you want to call them. But I'm thinking I can improve what happened. So I've just got this note highlighted so that the next time I'm planting them, I'll remember. Now I put them there because I know before I plant them again, I will be scrolling this far down. Otherwise, what I could do, highlight all of this. I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to go all the way back up here where my other notes are. And I'm going to enter it right here. So now I'm going to paste that right there. So it's there when I'm putting in all, when I open it up, I'm going to see it. The next section is for the different categories of things that you grow. I have fruit trees. Now I'm going to increase the font and I'm going to bold it. I don't care if I have this in the center or not, so I'm not going to. But I'm going to go down, take it back down to your regular font, take the bold off, and now I'm going to put the date. Oh, all right. Undo that. There we go. Take the bold off, go back down here, put your date. And then you're going to write the notes for that. Actually, my bad. Let's keep that bold up and let's say what kind of fruit tree that you're talking about. There you go. So you're going to have fruit trees, you're going to have fig or whatever you're growing, and you're going to put the date, and then you're going to put your notes after that date. You can put a dash there and then start typing if you want. Keep it simple. Let's say I have avocado, which I do. I'm going to bold that, bring it back up to a 20, and that way I can find the notes I have there. Unbold, go back down to 16, and so on. So January 1, 2016. Actually, I want this whole date there to be a 12, just so I'm consistent. So now that I've covered all my fruit trees, the next thing I have is herbs. Again, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to increase the font. I'm going to bold it. Herbs. And I'm going to enter in all the different herbs that I have, and I'm going to date it and then make the notes that I want. After herbs, for me, let me come in here to mine. I've got fruit trees, herbs, and then vegetables. Now here is where it gets fun for me because that's what I have a lot of. If you have flowers, you might want to put them after or before fruit trees. I like to keep it alphabetically. That's important because we've learned how to, categorize alphabetically. So if I was interested in keeping track of all my flowers, I would do that. And then maybe I would do subcategories under flowers. I would put perennials and annuals. So then you would then put the type of flower or annual or perennial underneath that category, bold it just like I've shown you here, and then your date, and then your notes. Now I have vegetables. Now under vegetables, I'm going to keep this alphabetical. Nope. And I will show you right here, my page. I put basil under vegetables. That's just the way I did it for me. But if I was growing a lot of herbs, I would be putting it under the category herbs. In fact, I may go ahead and rearrange this now that I'm telling you about it. So in 2015, those are my notes for vegetables. Interesting note, I forgot about that. See here, January 18, lived until a freeze on January 3rd, so nearly 2 years old. That's a long time for basil plants for me. So, very cool. Very cool. All right. So vegetables, and now you're going to go ahead. I put basil here, but if you have a separate herb category, you're going to put that there. So my first true vegetable are beans. B-E-A-N-S. I'm going to increase the font here. I'm not going to do my subcategories as big as my general category. So now that I have beans entered, I'm going to take the bold off, go back to 12 font. I'm going to put the date. Actually, I'm not going to plant anything until March 1, let's just say 2026. I'm going to say what kind, bush, blue lake. I'm going to say one bed. Let's see if I can get this up there where you can read it. Double row. I'm going to say amended soil with, for me, sulfur. And I will probably put in potassium this year. In fact, I know I will, because my soil test showed me that is what to soil test. Okay, so anything that you can write to remind yourself in the future what you did to improve things or whatever you want. So it's let me back up here. You're going to put in everything from how you prepared the soil, how you amended the soil, and then maybe you want to say 8 days to German. Come on. Come on, Debbie. Germination. And then you're going to go March, let's say 25, 2026. Or a lot of times what I'll say is March 25 update. Most survived and look healthy. And then maybe May 1 update, harvested 1 quart on May 1st, harvested 1/2 bushel on May 15. Okay, so you're just going to enter all of that. I may say maybe I forgot to add in this. Let's say in April. I'm going to go back because this happens to me all the time. April 15, sprinkled sulfur powder because of disease. All recovered quickly. And that's a little tip for green beans that I learned. As soon as you see those little spots on your green bean plants, sprinkle them with sulfur very lightly, and the new growth will be recovered. All right, so that's how I go through all of my vegetables. Let's see. Let's see. I've got green beans. You know what? The same thing that I do for dry beans and the care for them, I do for green beans. Now I'm going to show you this on my own page under green beans. Note, try jade green beans. They're supposed to do very well and taste good. No string. Update, May 2025. They were good, but not very prolific. Nearly impossible to save the seeds. Bush Blue Lake, you can save the seeds. The Italian, you can save the seeds. But that was what worked in my garden. These are little tips that you're going to be sharing with yourself that maybe you will not see anywhere else. So you see, you're going to learn from yourself. And having your own journal is definitely, definitely worth it. As the years go by, you're going to be really, really happy that you have your garden journal. Now, here's the thing that you have to remember before you order your seeds. Read through your garden journal. I'm pretty bad about that, believe it or not. So I just have come to realize over the years, you better check your garden journal before you order seeds from varieties that didn't work for you, or maybe you've got a note in here that you wanted to try something new. Like I learned about the jade green beans from a group online, and it worked for that person, but it didn't work for me. And they liked the taste of jade green beans. It was okay, but I still like Bush Blue Lake the best. So, you know, that's just one instance where you can see that keeping your own journal is going to make you the expert of your garden. Thank you for hanging in there with me all the way to the end. I really appreciate it, and I hope it's been helpful. Please give it that green thumbs up, and please leave a comment. I read them all, and I try to answer any questions that you have. And if there's a subject that you want me to cover, please leave that in the comments as well. It really helps me to know what your interest is, and I really want to help you if I can. Thanks again for watching.
Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.